Today I'm going to talk about Penelope Douglas and the 3 books that I read. I am super excited for this because I loved all 3 books. I read Punk 57, Birthday Girl, and Credence. Let's start with Punk 57. So you have these young adults and teenagers that many years before, I think it was 7 years, were assigned by their teachers to be pen pals. It was supposed to be female and female, male and male, but somehow they messed up the genders and it ended up being male-female. So they write for a very long time with each other. I mean, it's years. So Misha starts a band and he and his bandmates are putting together a fundraiser, a scavenger hunt. And lo and behold, Ryan ends up being there. He wasn't expecting to meet her, and she needs a couple of pictures for the scavenger hunt that the band put together. So they end up taking the picture together. It's a really awkward kind of meeting. He's kind of rude to her because she doesn't recognize who he is. Now, they had made a promise to each other not to ever look each other up or meet. They just were supposed to strictly be pen pals. I really like that concept because I've always kind of wanted a pen pal, but whatever. Too late now. He wasn't expecting her to be this beautiful, easygoing woman that he just, she portrayed herself differently. She portrayed herself as a nerd, outcast, and just not generally liked. Well, something happens to Misha, so he leaves right away and he ends up going through a tragic loss. Now this changes everything for him. He loses contact with her and they go months without speaking. Now, you have Ryan on the other hand who is still writing him. She is just lost and kind of confused and doesn't know why he hasn't written her. And she knows something's wrong, but doesn't really know what to do about it. And all of a sudden, there's this new kid, Mason, that shows up. Plot twist, it ends up being Misha. So I'm just going to... The name thing might get a little weird, but... I'll keep it going. So she's kind of thrown off by this guy because he's kind of a jerk. And it turns into a bully romance in a way because Misha just does not like what he's seeing with Ryan. She's shallow, she's popular, she's, very into looks and cares too much about what people think about her. So he just, that's really hard about high school and being in those ages. Like everything's just so confusing and she started off being bullied at a young age. So yeah, she's turned herself into this different creature of habit of being what everybody else is expecting her to be. And that's just sad to me. It's heartbreaking. It's really good. I really, really like the story, and I really like the different aspects that the story brings. Like, it shows what bullying can do to people, especially like if it's been throughout life or really at any stage. Bullying can really affect someone's mental health and how they act. And the way she portrayed herself to Misha in the letters was super sweet, understanding, wanting to be there, no judgment, just like a true friendship and bond. So I think they're depending on each other for that. And Misha's grieving, so his emotions are super heightened too. Now, there is a little bit of mystery to this book that I really, really have enjoyed. It's because he didn't come to Ryan's school to meet her or to follow her there. He has his own agenda of why he came to her town, to her school. So they really kind of keep that up and builds and builds and build. And there's also someone vandalizing the school and they're trying to figure out who. So there's all these like little tiny plot twists in there that are really good. Some of it hit emotionally too. I've known so many people that have been bullied or even still to this day were affected by it, and it's just sad. And it just the story of it, to be yourself, be true to you, be true to your friends, and at the end of the day when you get older it doesn't matter. So I don't know, I think that needs to be brought out more, and the love story in it of them coming together is really good. The progression of it, they love each other as friends, they lose touch, she meets this guy, they become closer, and then there's that explosion moment where of course she finds out Mason is Misha. So, I mean, of course that's gotta hurt and that's heartbreaking, but overall, I mean, they overcome it, and there was smut. Now, the smut was really good. It wasn't overpowering. It wasn't like the whole book. It's that teenage angst, where you're figuring everything out and whatnot. So that was pretty good. I guess I should talk about the narration because I listened to this book. I am an audiobook listener, and I also do the e-reader thing. But the narration was really good here. I took a note. Lori Catherine Winkle and Matthew Holland were the narrators. They did really good at bringing the story out and made it, the emotions, good. They just brought out the story. I mean, they're not the best narrators I've ever heard. They're not like my top favorite or anything, but they weren't annoying, so that's a plus. The next book I listened to was Birthday Girl, and it was narrated by Andrew Eden and Jennifer Mack. The book is about, she's dating a guy, and they had been friends forever. They went through a tragic loss, like, of a mutual friend, so they ended up leaning on each other and turning it into a relationship. And he's kind of drinking a lot, not treating her right, and he messes up where they're living. So they end up having to move in with his dad. When they move in with his dad, everything kind of shifts. He stops coming around a lot, and I don't know, they start separating emotionally. She's trying to work a lot. Dad's fixing Pike. I love Pike. Pike's fixing her car. Pike's noticing her favorite things, and they're kind of building their own relationship. Now, they are respecting all boundaries. They're not disrespecting, her relationship with Cole. Cole. That asshole. He's kind of a piece of shit to her. I'm just there. I said it. He's a piece of shit to her. He does not treat her any way any woman should be treated. Destroying apartment, getting drunk, not coming home, and just, he's an asshole. If someone loves you, they will be reliable. They will show you that they care. They will be there, and they won't just disappear. They'll also make sure you're always in a safe environment. They won't put you in an unsafe environment. And in which case, he doesn't do it on purpose, but he puts her in a predicament that is not safe. And I don't know, that just pissed me off. She just babies Cole a lot, like does his chores, makes excuses for him, tries to protect him through the whole thing, and I don't understand it. Anyways, so Pike is the one, taking care of both of them. And as I said earlier, they kind of get this bond, and they vibed. They have vibed from the moment they met, which they ended up meeting before he realizes she's dating her son. So I thought that was a cool little twist. I liked that a lot. And I don't know, Pike is super swoony in my opinion. Like there was moments in the book where I was like, swoon. All right, I get it. Like that was cute. He beats himself up over it a lot, which I think is really cute because he's almost bashful in a way, but he still has that whole alpha hole thing going on to where he's like, I am caveman, I will take you, you know, order her around a little bit. And just his protective streak is just so attractive in this book. And the way he goes about it is wrong, yes, but it also brings out his personality and what he's going through too, because his past with his ex, Cole's mom, was not good at all. So I mean, it's understandable to an extent. I liked this book a lot more than Punk 57. Punk 57 was a great book, but this one just brings out those emotions, even though they are so different in age. And I like the age gap aspect of it because she's got an old soul. You can tell from the beginning she's just thriving on being an old soul. Like, yes, she's still she's naive in certain ways, but in her bones, like, she knows what she wants out of life. She just doesn't know how she's gonna get there. I don't know if that makes sense, but it is what it is. Of course, it ends up coming out about Pike and Jordan. That whole thing, I don't know. I don't really know if I like the way they went about it coming out. I wish it would have been in a different manner. After that, they do take a long break. Like, she goes off, she's working at a hotel, not even in the state, figuring out herself, while Pike is really trying to figure out if that was a real relationship or not. And it's really cute of how he figures out she is the one he wants to be with. I thought like them coming together was good. Like the progression of the book is realistic in my opinion. You know, it wasn't just like instant attraction, instant love. Like, no, the way she went out about it, of her bringing the characters together, really worked for me. I thought it was fantastic. The character development was on point. Backstories were good. Just all of it. I really, really enjoyed all of it. And the smut. Okay, well, it was good. You got an older, experienced man. You got a younger woman and instant chemistry, but a slow build to a relationship. You got the breakup, the time apart, all of it just, I don't know, like you could just feel the chemistry coming off this book. And the narration was really good. I thought Andrew did so good. His female voice was not bad. And normally when it comes to men interpreting a woman's voice, it's annoying. And yeah, it's annoying. It can be annoying, but his was not bad at all. Now, Jennifer Mack, she did really good with Jordan's voice, but when she was interpreting a male's voice, it was kind of annoying. But she wasn't the worst I've ever heard. I would definitely listen to other books she narrates too, so there's that. Credence. It ended up being my favorite book, but it also made me the most uncomfortable. I wasn't sure where I sat with it pretty much throughout the whole thing. I was so conflicted. You know, I liked the way it came together. It ended up being a beautiful story, but that's how I'm starting this review, because I was conflicted until the end. It has a full cast, which is kind of amazing. The narration was Sophia Willingham, Greg Tremblay, Carson Beck, and Michael Pauly. In this story, you have a young girl whose parents commit suicide, and her step-uncle, so they're not related. Yeah, so there's familial ties, but they're not blood related, is given guardianship because she has 2 months before she turns 18. And he has 2 sons, Caleb and Noah, and then Jake is the uncle. So you have this young girl who has been very sheltered, neglected, isn't used to affection. emotions. She's used to being ignored. So that's just kind of a little bit of her backstory. And then you have the boys who live up on a secluded mountain, who 5-6 months out of the year can't even get into town. They run their own farm, grow their own food, hunt their own food, and all of that. So that's just a little bit of the backstory. She ends up agreeing to go up to the mountains with them, and that's kind of where the love square happens. And that's where it was kind of uncomfortable for me, because it started with like the uncle and then the brothers. So to each their own. The build up throughout the whole book was really good. I really liked how she brought the emotions all together, because all of the emotions were just on point, especially for where she was developmentally, because she was emotionally neglected her whole life. So her gaining and trying to understand all of the emotions, lust, caring, anything other than numb, getting angry, feeling sad, wanting attention, wanting to give attention. Just she's not used to communicating even. So just like all of the steps of emotions that she went through were on point. Everything that the boys, or I shouldn't say boys, everything that the men went through were also on point, because one, they're not used to having a woman around. I mean, other than their little sluts, because those were around. But I mean, in like more than a hey, hi, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, bye. More than that. So, I mean, they're learning how to nurture, they're learning how to care. They're getting emotionally involved, which is not what they're used to. So, I mean, even with their development with that, it's really good. I also really like how there's the mystery of why Terrence, the bad guy, was put in there. I like the way his story develops into it. He kind of ties the whole thing together, the bad blood. But you have the buildup and the mystery of you don't really know why there's bad blood until the end. So I like how that they kept that a common theme too. And the way she interacts with all of the men is really different and good at the same time. Like you have, all of them are a little emotionally tortured. You have Caleb, who went through a tragic incident when he was a kid. So the first time he meets Tiernan, it's a little scary and aggressive, and he doesn't communicate at all. He's decided to go chosen mute, because that's the only control he has. He was pretty much abandoned and put in a dire situation as a kid, so he has that tortured soul type of like mysterious alpha. I don't know. I really like how his character development through the book was really good too. And then you have Jake, who, his first true love was taken from him in a tragic manner, and then the mother of his children ends up being in prison. And then, of course, you have Noah, which is the sweet one that wants to communicate and just craves this love and attention, but he has a passion for something else other than the farm, and he wants to leave. So, I don't know. I just think it all comes together so well, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think this is more of an emotionally driven book, because all of them are driven by their emotions. So I really like that concept and aspect of the whole thing. I've rated the smut on the other two, so I'll rate it on this one. At first I was uncomfortable with it because of the familial ties. I don't know how many times I could repeat that, but I did again. But it ended up being pretty good. I mean, I could understand why she's attracted to all three men. I can understand the feelings and the process she goes through it. It was good. It was definitely a smutty book. They're all very virile men, virile young men that are, living life, and it was good. There's that. Now for the narration was fantastic. I thought each character's voice was good. I'm going to rate all the 3 books versus what I liked the most and to what I didn't like as much. I loved all 3 books. I suggest all 3. Read them all. But Credence was my favorite. I think because it pushed me out of that comfort zone and it ended so beautifully. And then it would have to be Birthday Girl. And then it would be Punk 57. So thanks for listening to my long rambling video. If you happen to like it or kind of liked it, like the video, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.